So here we are. Don't Tap the Glass, Tyler the Creator. The album is out. It's been out for about 2 hours at the point of recording this. I've listened to it, and these are my first thoughts on this. Obviously, this is pretty exciting. We didn't even know he was dropping a record until just 3 days ago, so let's jump straight into this.
If you want to stay up to date with everything surrounding hip-hop, make sure to subscribe and also become a part of this community by joining our Discord server in the description.
You can now sign up for my free newsletter with the first link in the description. It comes every Sunday and recaps everything that's been happening in hip-hop over the past week, so make sure to do that. So we finally have it. As I just said, I mean, this is kind of luxury for us. We're getting spoiled because, as I said, we didn't even know he was dropping a record a week ago. We got the announcement like 3 days ago. So any criticism that we have to express, for this record, it really comes with the big remark and the big premise that this is obviously luxury for Tyler the Creator fans because we were expecting a new record in 2026, next year, maybe earliest after he had just dropped Chromacopia in October of last year, 2024. But obviously we have it, and the first thought that a lot of people had was, it's very short. It's only 10 tracks with a runtime of 28 minutes. Now, the first time that I opened this up on Spotify, I was also pretty surprised. I thought this was going to be bigger, but I mean, he did warn us. He did say that this isn't a big conceptual record. And musically, it's exactly what you would want from a Tyler the Creator record. Some hard verses, some nice singing on there, nice vocals, nice harmonizing. You have really great samples on Sucker Free, for example. You have hard-hitting stuff like the second part, Tweakin', and also just really great songs that are probably going to do very well commercially, like Ring Ring Ring. So it's really everything you could have wanted. Nevertheless, though, I've seen a lot of people immediately express that they were looking for something more. And I mean, this is the irony of this entire thing. We didn't even know he was dropping a record. A lot of us thought it was just going to be a single or just an EP. This could qualify as an EP if you would say so. And in the end, we got a great record with great music from Tyler that we would have very happily taken a week ago. And now we're already here being like, well, I thought this was going to be bigger. In the end, he wasn't lying. This wasn't a big conceptual thing. This was just a fun record for him. Now, obviously, the more we listen to it, the more we can interpret into maybe little hints he gave us here and there, maybe nods to earlier stuff, earlier references of his records. But in the end, this is a great project. And obviously, this leaves the question as to how is this going to keep going? On the last track, Tell Me What It Is, which is a great outro track. I think that this serves perfectly as an outro track. We can hear at the end that he's saying thank you for being here and until next time. And we kind of have this closed chapter, this overarching theme of the, Tyler altered voice that we also heard with the 3 rules during the rollout, the, don't tap the glass, body motion, only speak in glory. You remember all of that. And then it's kind of like until next time. It kind of feels like this isn't done yet. And it kind of feels like he knows that fans, were taking this not as a big project that stands alone, but he's immediately referencing to yet another new record at the end of this, which I did find a little odd. Maybe he himself only views this as a short 10-track project that is to be continued up on. Maybe that's the entire thing about this, but we have to wait and see what actually comes. Now, he did kind of break his entire release schedule for this. Also, we've had multiple rules being broken, like the 10th track always being the double track with the double title. In this case, it's the 8th track now, while on Chromacopia, none of the tracks were named after that. So it is kind of interesting to see how he's breaking old patterns, and it's going to be even more interesting to see how he's going to continue that in the future. I mean, realistically, we were looking at an album release in 2026. That would have been the 2 years after that. I mean, Call Me If You Get Lost dropped 2021. Then we did get the estate sale in 2023, but that was only a deluxe. And then we had Chromacopia in 2024. So it's all a mess now. Now, after we had Don't Tap the Glass in 2025, we really don't know. Now, concerning the title as well, we did speculate a lot around as to what the title could mean. In the end, a lot of you were right. It wasn't about the glass he's building up around himself, around a possible emotional insight that he's trying to keep out, and you shouldn't break that or shatter that. In the end, it was the zoo animal theory that a lot of you also had, because he was referencing that in the end, there's somebody in the cage with a glass cage around him. And like you know from a lot of zoos, they have this sign there that says, "Don't tap the glass," which is supposed to mean that you shouldn't irritate the animals inside of the zoo cage, because they don't like that. They get irritated and then they become aggressive or whatever. And in this case, that theory was actually right. He does reference that at the end of Tell Me What It Is as well, right as we exit the album. So maybe all along this was about him being the action figure inside of the cage that we had displayed in Brooklyn. So that theory was kind of right all around. And I think that's pretty interesting to see as well. But as I said, we shouldn't talk about this like, we immediately want the next record. I think that's a trap we easily fall into with every artist. The first thing is always, okay, what's next? In this case, it is justified a little bit because he leaves such room for speculation with the outro and with the way he structured this, the way that this was a short record unexpectedly. But, in the end, it's still a really good project. I think I'm going to go back to stuff like also I'll Take Care of You. Beautiful track. I mean, what else do you want from a Tyler record? We didn't have those big features. So that fake track list we talked about yesterday really wasn't true. No Push feature, no Kendrick feature, mostly solo on this thing. So that's a big thing as well. I think that was what he was kind of going for. I think this also what differentiates this from a real album from Tyler, because Tyler does usually have features. He does have very high profile features that he then puts to work in a very creative way. In this case, that wasn't the case. So maybe that's also another indicator that this is not a full record and we are still getting one. But let's see how all of this plays out. I am very excited to see what he has to say about this, because Tyler is usually someone that then also likes to comment on his releases and talk to the fans and, respond to backlash a little bit. And I'm going to be interested to see how he explains this maybe in an upcoming interview that he gives. I think that's going to be very interesting to see how he himself views this project in the greater scheme of things. Now, a lot of people have also been saying these are leftovers or he's been working on this for a very long time. That can very well be. But in the end, we got to take what we get. And in this case, it is Don't Tap the Glass. And I think it's a really good project. So while I do think there could be a big album coming out next year in 2026, we're very happy with this. He did go for classic Tyler. It wasn't the West Coast album theory that a lot of you also had, where we thought that based on the cover and based on the action figure, he was going to go into full rap mode, not have a lot of singing on here. We also didn't really get this new persona, this new alter ego, the zoo figure, aside from these, comments about being in the cage, don't tap the glass, stuff like that obviously was there, but it wasn't like it was a big persona that a lot of narrative was spun around. I think that's still up for the big projects, and that's the way we have it right now. Let me know what you thought about this, though. Did you like this? Were you disappointed? Were you happy with this? Were you expecting this to be this short? All of your thoughts that you have on Don't Tap the Glass, leave them in the comments. We're going to discuss it down there. That's the place for all of us fans to come together and talk about the record. So all of your thoughts on this, please let me know in the comments down below.
If you watched this video to the end and liked it, and you want to stay up to date with all current hip-hop events and releases, make sure to subscribe, turn on notifications, hit that like button, and go follow my social media, and most importantly, join my Discord in the description. Until the next one, you'll have an incredible day, and y'all take care.